The reason I was more successful than others was because I learned from my mistakes. I was better at analyzing my mistakes and then correcting them than other people. Successful people are not those who don't make mistakes, but who analyze their mistakes and eliminate them. When I came into cricket, after my first test match, I was dropped, kicked out of the team. Didn't come back until 3 years later. When I was trying to make it, everyone used to tell me, you don't have the talent. My older two cousins, who were my role models, they used to remind me, were far more experienced than talented than me at my age. And throughout my cricketing career, I was told that it's impossible. You cannot do it. Similarly, when probably far more difficult than playing cricket was building the first cancer hospital in Pakistan, I held a conference of the top doctors in the city. Out of the 20 doctors, 19 said that it was impossible. You cannot build a cancer hospital in Pakistan. I also had a lot of ridicule, people laughing at me throughout various stages of my life. But this is really what I want to tell you. Successful people are fearless. They fight their fears. They're not scared of failure. They do not care what people say, because people change what they think all the time. I remember going into bat and a whole crowd of people in Lahore Cricket Stadium cheering me, Lion of Lahore. I got out first ball and the same crowd started jeering at me. The next day when I did well in bowling, again they cheered me. So I realized that public opinion is fickle. Do not allow your lives to be driven by what people say. Go by what your objectives are, what your passions are, what your ideals are. And never ever downgrade your ideals in moments of weakness. When you've suffered a setback, that really is the time to reflect why you've suffered a setback. And correct the mistake and keep going towards that ideal. Because the problem is, it's not a defeat that destroys you. It's being demoralized by defeat that destroys you. There were much more talented cricketers than me. When I was growing up, in my school, which I went to, was a school for privileged children in the society. And in that, I excelled in my school. But when I actually got out of the school to play cricket for my city, I discovered that the children coming from the poorer backgrounds had much greater hunger and drive than the boys who were studying with me in this privileged school. I discovered that in my school we had the best coaching and the best teachers and the best cricketing facilities and the grounds and the wickets. We could not compete with these boys coming from the streets because their hunger and drive was much more. Not only did I discover that these boys were much hungrier than me for success, but they were far more talented. But the reason I succeeded was because I had bigger dreams than them. I thought bigger than them. I wasn't satisfied. When I was 18, I played for my country. Wasn't very good. I was dropped after my first test match. Everyone thought that was the end of my career. But the reason I came back was because the first time I got dropped, I tried to analyze my weaknesses. First time I played in England and I saw these other great cricketers. And I realized that the bowling action God had, my natural bowling action, which was endowed with, was restricting me from reaching my ambition, which was at that time to become the best fast bowler. From then onwards, rather than be limited by my natural bowling action, I decided to change it to reach my ambition. Now this is, very important for you to understand this. For some of the people here, it's important to know your limitations. People who don't know your limitations are not successful. But it is also important never to be restricted by your limitations. Never accept them. always try to expand those limitations. So what I did was that my limitation in my bowling action did not restrict me, because I decided that my ambition, if I stuck with this bowling action, I would not be able to reach my ambition. So I changed my bowling action. And I'm the only fast bowler who completely changed his bowling action from the time he started to the time I finished. I completely remodeled it. And this is against all the coaches, all the experts. People told me, listen, don't do that. You lose your natural ability. And all the time I came up against this thing that, look, you cannot do this. You will fail. Just play to your limitations and so on. So you will also, people sitting here who are aspiring for big things, remember this, that all your life you will be told that this cannot be done. Do not accept this, because this is where, when you compromise on your mission or your ambition, that's where the downward slide starts. If anything, always upgrade your ambition, but never downgrade it. Never accept anything less than what you aim for. So if I aim to become the best fast bowler in Pakistan, and if I had accepted what the coaches told me, that your bowling action would not allow me to get there, and accepted something less, then I know that it would have been the end of, I would have just become one of the ordinary cricketers. But I did not accept it. But then I upgraded my mission. When I became the best in Pakistan team, then I wanted to be the best in the world. You know, when I became what I thought I'd reached the best fast bowler in the world, then I wanted to be the best all-rounder in the world. And then once I became the captain, by the way, everyone told me don't accept captaincy because fast bowlers do not become good captains. They all gave me the example of Ian Botham, who had failed as a captain. They said, listen, he's failed, you will also fail as a captain. So you will always come up against this. But then it became, when I became the captain, I wanted to make Pakistan team the #1 team in the world. So ambition must be upgraded all the time. Never bring it down, never downgrade it, because the moment you downgrade it, as I said, it's a downward spiral. You keep going down. And when you keep struggling to go up, this is where your inner strength comes in. What I mentioned before, we all have great potential. But it's only when you pit yourself against challenges that you begin discovering this potential in you. It's like, if you do weight training, your arm gets strong. If you just don't do anything with it, it'll just shrivel up. But the mind is the more you put your mind to pressure, challenges, the stronger it becomes. There's a great verse by one of our greatest poets, which says something like, "Oh hawk, don't be scared of these gusts of wind that hit you. They are meant to make you fly higher." So don't be scared of these, obviously the bigger challenges you have, the more resistance you'll have. But never be scared of that. Because when you pit yourself against resistance, you get stronger. So my action, my body wasn't equipped to be that of a fast bowler. But the more I tried and the more I struggled towards it, my body got stronger. And similarly, much more, of course, is the case with the mind. Then when I became the captain, I had these ambitions that I wanted Pakistan to be the best team. Now that ambition must take precedence over everything else. You should be able to, if you cannot for any reason, any impediment in that way of your ambition, you must be able to, whatever it takes, you should be able to sacrifice for that. And so I'm the only captain, and that's the reason I was successful. I'm the only captain who twice resigned because the selectors did not give me the team I wanted to win. So my ambition was to be the best, make Pakistan the best team. When I realized that I wasn't getting the best team, for me to achieve that ambition, I was willing to resign rather than stay the captain. So this is also very important, that you must, do not let anything get in the way of your ambition. लेकिन मेरा आ जाने का यहाँ मकसद लीडरशिप, एक आपको कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि मैं आप में से लीडर्स प्रोड्यूस करूँ। देखिए, कौमें लीडर्स, रोल मॉडल से इस तरह कौम बनती है جو دنیا کے سب سے بڑے لیڈر تھے ہمارے نبی صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم، یاد رکھیں ان کو دیکھ کے لوگ لیڈر بن گئے. کوئی وہ پیریڈ سٹڈی کرے، ان کے دنیا سے پردہ کرنے کے بعد اتنے عظیم لوگ اتنے چھوٹے ٹائم میں کبھی نکلے ہی نہیں. وہ پیریڈ سٹڈی کرے ان کے بعد، یعنی جس طرح ایک سے ایک بڑا عظیم انسان نکلا، تو وہ کیا تھا؟ وہی لوگ پہلے تھے. ان کے جانے کے بعد کیا ہوا کہ ہر کوئی لیڈر بن گیا. حضرت بلال جو ایک غلام تھے، پہلے افریقن تھے جو مسلمان ہوئے، انہوں نے 2 کیمپینز لیڈ کی تھی. خود سوچیں کہ ایک کیمپین یعنی جنرل بننا، ایک کیمپین کو لیڈ کرنا، ایک پوری اس کے لیے آپ کو ایک ٹریننگ چاہیے. تو غلام بن ایک جنرل بن گیا تو کچھ ہوا ہوگا نا، کچھ اس لیڈر کو اس نے کچھ کیا ہوگا ان لوگوں کے اوپر کہ سب لیڈر بن گئے. 17-18 سال کا محمد بن قاسم یا ہندوستان آ کے سندھ فتح کر لیتا. طارق بن زیاد 13,000 اپنی فوج سے اسپین فتح کر لیتا. کوئی موراکو نکل جاتا ہے، کوئی سینٹرل ایشیا نکل جاتا ہے. خالد بن ولید جیسا کوئی جنرل آیا ہی نہیں. تو کیا تھا وہ لوگ جو ایک دم سب لیڈرز بن گئے. تو یہ میں چاہتا ہوں کہ آپ اس کے اوپر اس لیے غور کریں کیونکہ قوموں کو لیڈرز اٹھاتے ہیں. اور میں بڑے افسوس سے کہتا ہوں، اس لیے میں نے فیصلہ کیا کہ میں اپنے جو فیوچر آپ کا ہے، میں اپنی فیوچر جنریشن کو کوشش کروں کہ آپ میں سے سمجھیں کہ لیڈرشپ ہوتی کیا ہے، لیڈر کیسے بنتا ہے. تو میں آپ کو اب بریفلی بتاؤں گا کہ لیڈر ہوتا کیا ہے، اس میں کیا کوالٹیز چاہیے. ضروری نہیں کہ وہ سب سے انٹیلیجنٹ ہو، سب سے پڑھا لکھا ہو، سب سے پیسے والا ہو. لیڈر وہ ہوتا ہے جس میں، اب میں آپ کو کوالٹیز بتاؤں گا جو کہ لیڈر میں ہوتی ہے. دیکھیں، سب سے پہلے تو آپ کو سب کو یہ ایک چیز سمجھنی چاہیے کہ اللہ نے آپ کو اشرف المخلوقات بنایا ہے، آپ کو فرشتوں سے بھی اوپر بنایا ہے. مولانا رومی کہتا ہے کہ انسان جب اپنے نفس پہ اور میں پہ قابو پا جاتا ہے تو فرشتوں سے بھی اوپر چلا جاتا ہے، لیکن جب وہ اپنی میں کا غلام بن جاتا ہے وہ جانوروں سے بھی نیچے چلا جاتا ہے. قرآن کی آیت ہے کہ جب انسان گرتا ہے جانوروں سے بھی نیچے چلا جاتا ہے. جانور تو کھا کے پیٹ بھرتا ہے، اس کے بعد وہ اس کے سامنے شیر کے سامنے ہرن پھرتے رہے، اسے پرواہ نہیں ہوتی، کھا پیٹ بھرا ہوتا ہے اس کا. یہاں تو پیٹ ہی نہیں بھرتے جانوروں کے، کیونکہ جب انسان میں انسانیت نہ ہو وہ عقل مند جانور رہتا ہے. انسان تو انسان تب ہے کہ جب اس میں انسانیت ہو. جانور بھی آتا ہے دنیا میں، کھاتا ہے، بچے پیدا کرتا ہے اور مر جاتا ہے. تو انسان تو تب ہے جب اس کو یہ فکر ہو کہ میں کسی کو جواب دے ہوں، میں کسی مقصد کے لیے اس دنیا میں آیا ہوں. نہیں تو وہ بھی کھا پی کے چلا جاتا ہے. اس لیے اپنا پہلے مقام سمجھیں. آپ کو اللہ نے جو پوٹینشل دیا ہے وہ فرشتوں کو نہیں دیا. مولانا رومی کی ایک سینگ ہے کہ جب اللہ نے آپ کو پر دیے ہیں، انسانوں کو کہتا ہے، جب اللہ نے آپ کو پر دیے ہیں تو زمین پہ کیوں رینگ رہے ہو، کیڑوں کی طرح کیوں رینگ رہے ہو، جب آپ، جس طرح اقبال کہتا ہے، آپ شاہین بن سکتے ہیں. تو دیکھیں، یہ بڑا ضروری ہے سمجھنا کہ انسان ایک بڑا انسان بنتا کیسے، لیڈر بنتا کیسے. اور وہ سب سے بڑی چیز یہ ہوتی ہے کہ وہ ایک بڑا انسان بڑی سوچ رکھتا ہے. جتنی آپ کی بڑی خواب اتنا بڑا انسان. اگر آپ کی سوچ ہی چھوٹی سی ہے، میں کھا پی کے چلا جاؤں گا، تو آپ اتنا ہی ہیں جتنا مرضی انٹیلیجنٹ ہو. جتنی آپ کی بڑی خواب اور ڈریم اور سوچ ہوگی ادھر ہی آپ پہنچیں گے. اب جو ڈریم بڑی ہوتی ہے وہ ہمیشہ اس آدمی کی ہوتی ہے جو اپنی میں سے باہر نکلتا ہے. جو اپنا سوچتا ہے, جو میں پہ فیصلے کرتا ہے. کتنے دنیا میں پیسے والے لوگ آئے, اربوں پتی آئے ہیں, تاریخ کسی کو یاد کرتی ہے؟ کتنے لوگوں کو آپ جان کرتے ہیں؟ اس ملک میں کتنے اربوں پتی آئے چلے گئے ہیں؟ سوئٹزرلینڈ میں ان کے بینک مر گئے, ان کے پیسے ہی سوئٹزرلینڈ میں رہ گئے. کتنے آئے ہیں؟ کوئی دنیا میں یاد کرتا ہے کسی کو؟ کتنے پرائم منسٹر آئے ہیں؟ پرائم منسٹر میں کہیں ابھی دیکھتا ہوں کہ فنکشنز کے اندر بیچاروں کو پوچھتا کوئی نہیں, کونے میں بیٹھے ہوتے ہیں, کوئی پوچھتا نہیں ہو. کیونکہ پوچھتا تو اس کو ہے جس کو اللہ عزت دیتا ہے, اور اللہ تو اس کو عزت دیتا ہے جو اللہ کے لوگوں کے لیے کچھ کرتا ہے.